let's say I have this page. I want to create an A/B test for it, or I want to create a personalized variation of it. Like let's say you have a landing page for apparel and you want to create a men's variant or a women's variant. So all these different situations, A/B testing, personalization, and just creating different variations of a page in general, there's this concept called variants that will let you do that very easily. So the way to get started is we're going to expand this section about the page, and we're going to click Add Variant. And we can call this whatever we want. Let's say we're doing A/B testing, and we'll just call this the experiment. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to collapse that. And now I can just go ahead and start making the changes that I want to make directly on this page. And they'll be recorded as overrides that are specific to this variant. So for instance, let's say I want to actually change the content. Hello there, remix. And when I make this change, notice the original doesn't change, but these are actually not separate copies, hard copies. These are still linked. So if I go back to the base appearance and I make some other change, like let's say I move these around, it's reflected down here. If I, change the colors or delete elements, they'll all be reflected across. But any changes that I make here while recording to the experiment will be specific to the experiment. So this is no different from variants in any other context. Like if you're making changes to the mobile variant of a page, etc., it's just variants in Plasmic. They all work the same. And so we can use that for A/B testing here. Let's say I want to hide this text for the A/B test. I want to hide this button as well. Maybe this image, I'm going to change it to some other image. And maybe I'll take this text color here and I'll change it to something a little different. So you can go ahead and make whatever changes you want. You can completely change up the layout, etc. And that'll just be specific to this variant. And again, any other changes that I make to the base appearance will just continue bleeding through. Now, at this point, I want to publish this into our code base. So if you look at the way you normally render this page into a code base, it's this line here. You render this specific component. Now, instead of this, this will just render the base appearance of the page. But let's say I want to render that experiment variant. Then what I can do is there's a link actually down here to how to render different variants of your pages or components. We're going to click that, and that'll take us to the full docs. This is the API reference. It's this variant props section that we're interested in. And basically what it comes down to is you just pass this extra flag that indicates which variant you want to render. So in our case, this one is called experiment. So we would say experiment true. And whether it's true or false is basically determined by your choice of A/B testing framework. So, it's very flexible. You can just integrate it with whatever kind of system you're using that is the thing that rolls the dice, basically, for deciding which bucket user lands in. Instead of A/B testing, this could be which demographic the user is in, or any other condition. So that's how A/B testing, personalization, and just different variants of a page or component work in Plasmic.